Hello and welcome to GameRomp Easy Mode. This is a chill video game podcast with me and my wife, Deanna.
Me, Deanna.
Oh, and I'm David, and we're going to talk about games, and it's the big old year-end special, I guess. So,
although when this releases, it's going to be the beginning of the year, so fuck it, whatever.
That's fine. It's a year in review. We're talking about the previous year.
Okay.
Don't overthink it.
Okay, so the review for 2024.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the games that we played that we liked, our own personal games of the year, even though maybe we didn't play a lot of 2024 releases. I think I've played three 2024 releases.
I don't think I've played a single game that actually released this year. No, actually I take that back. The only thing I can think of was when we played the Rugrats game together.
Ugh.
Oh, well, no. Okay, I take that back again. Sorry.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting. I never checked the Switch because I almost never played it. But I did end up winning a copy of
Super Mario RPG, what's it called? 7 Stars?
No, the Thousand Year Door.
That's it. Wow.
7 Stars. This is a bakery.
I'm thinking of the Super Nintendo game, sorry.
Oh.
Anyway, so what we're going to do is just, since we didn't play a lot of games that released this year, we're just going to talk about our favorite games of the year that we did play.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start.
Yeah, sure, because, again, this is mostly your idea.
The first game I played... Oh, this is another issue of one of them being on the Switch, so I don't quite remember which one came out first.
I don't think we have to worry too much about that, right?
I think Unicorn Overlord came out later. Anyway, I think the first game I'm going to talk about is Pal World, because that's the first game, I'm pretty sure, that I played this year a lot of. And I like it. I liked Pal World a lot. I spent a lot of time playing it, actually just about the same amount of time as I played Enshrouded, according to Steam. Both were 20% on Steam, so...
Oh, that's not bad.
Pal World, what is there to say? It's Pokemon, except extremely goofy. There's guns. It's often called Pokemon with guns, but it's more than just guns.
Yeah, there's also...
In fact, guns aren't even a huge part of it.
Flamethrowers and bows and arrows and other weapons.
The flamethrower is a Pokemon. It's the little fox. He's the flamethrower. I don't think there is an actual flamethrower weapon in the game. So
kind of like how the toucan bird is also like a grenade launcher or something.
Basically, yeah. I think it's called Toko Toko. It's been a while since I played, so I don't remember their names. But yeah, Toko Toko would be my favorite one. The toucan that shoots exploding eggs.
I mean, it is a cute Pokemon, but it's a toucan, so doesn't... There's also a toucan Pokemon in actual Pokemon, and they're just toucans, so they're automatically cute.
I mean, that's basically the thing with these games, right? Like, oh, you made a toucan. What's it do? And then oh, there's a fox. It's fire, and it's a kitsune. Okay, sure. And here's a penguin. Of course, it's gonna be water or whatever or ice. So it's a lot of people get hung up on that kind of stuff, but it's I mean, what are you gonna do? Animals are animals, and they're drawn in the Japanese cutesy style. It's gonna look like Pokemon.
No, I know. I get it that obviously Pokemon mostly just takes from the animal kingdom, if not almost completely. I can only think of...
I guess they have steel types and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was also thinking I think one of the Ultra Beasts just looks like a mess of cables for some reason.
I don't think are there any pals that are like that? There's only a few that are kind of cybernetic or whatever. I think there's one, and even that thing just basically looks like a griffin. So
I wish I could imagine what you're talking about, but I don't know pals that well.
But to be fair, they don't need to be cybernetic or robotic looking, because a lot of the pals can just use guns or have rocket launchers mounted to them.
Yeah, that's fair.
I forget the name of the thing. I think it's called... I don't know. I don't remember the name of it. It's this blue brontosaurus looking thing.
Oh, the one that I always call Gudra, because it looks like it.
I don't know. He's kind of like the mascot because he's the icon for the game.
Right.
But you can strap rocket launchers onto him, and it's funny, but they're not really that good. Same for... there's another one called... oh, jeez, I don't remember his name either. It's a panda-looking guy, a grass panda.
Oh, okay.
And he can use basically like a rocket launcher, Yeah, because they fly straight. They're not like grenades where they bounce. And again, it's like very explosive and fun, but it's like not that great. The toucans exploding eggs are way stronger. But it's silly.
Can some of the pals use the other pals as weapons? Because that would be an interesting Inception type of thing.
I don't think so.
Because if they can use a
you can
grenade
use
launcher
them. You can
thing
use them
already.
as weapons. Like there are some that you can throw, like the little hedgehogs. You can throw those and they explode.
Right.
And you can launch the penguin. You can put him inside of a rocket launcher and shoot him, and he explodes.
Yeah, so it's like if the other creatures can use weapons, then they should also be able to
They
use
only
the
use
pals as
weapons when you basically train them and make weapons for them. They don't naturally use weapons.
That's fine, but when you train them, they should be able to use the other pals.
Okay. I mean, this is something that I've...
Fine, never mind.
Hey, there's a mod idea for you if you want to go and make something for it. But
I gotta learn programming first.
anyway, Pal World was fun. I still haven't gotten around to playing the updates. I know there's like... I think there's like 2 new islands now, and there's like a Terra... What is that Minecraft 2D Minecraft game called? Terraria.
Yeah.
There's like a Terraria tie-in deal that they did, so like some special cat sword has been put in the game.
I've never touched Terraria.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Terraria either. Apparently they're going to do more with them too, so well, I guess we'll see what happens there. They also changed some of the deploying methods for your Pokemon. Like if you used to be able just to throw out the Pokeball and they would come out and like where you would aim them, but now you can only like summon them next to you. I don't know if that's a permanent change or just something they're testing.
Because of the lawsuit.
I don't know. It's weird because the lawsuit, I mean, they have lawyers. They both have lawyers. And the trademarks that Nintendo filed were trademarked after Power World was released. So they should know that, like, I don't know. I don't know how Japanese trade law shit works, so who knows? Maybe they're being safe. But, like, literally, they trademarked the stuff after Power World was released. So
yeah, so Pal World should be grandfathered in, but whatever.
I guess we'll see. I like Power World. It's probably up there in my top 5 of the games that I played this year. So
yeah, technically I played with it with you for like maybe 30
you didn't play
minutes
with me.
January. Oh yeah, because it does it not have that, or we just didn't set
We
it
just
up?
didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
You played it once and never tried again, so we never got a chance to play together, which is a shame. But then again, considering how we play Minecraft together, I guess it maybe doesn't matter.
Otherwise, my other game for January was RimWorld, and that shows up in multiple months. And RimWorld's a good game. The only problem I guess I have with RimWorld now is
Was there a new update this year?
I don't think there was no, wait, there was an expansion released this year, yes. Okay, so I'm 3 expansions, quote-unquote, behind, if you will, because I only have Ideology.
Never mind then.
I don't have Royalty, I don't have Biotech, and I don't have the new Anomaly. It gets kind of difficult looking through mods, because a lot of mods will be like, okay, you need this pack to run it. And I'm like, well, I don't have it, so I can't use that mod.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot with like Fallout and Skyrim especially. It's like, oh, you need... just have all this DLC, because otherwise modding is going to be a pain.
And it's like, to some degree, I do want maybe one day, if I get into RimWorld again more, to justify, buying the expansions. I wouldn't mind getting Biotech. That one has a lot of interesting, like, gene splicing type of features, if you will. Royalty is maybe, but it has a big quest system, it seems to me, so like I guess that could be interesting. Anomaly is mostly based on like monsters and maybe things that you would count kind of like almost Cthulhu-ish type of things. Those
Cryptids and old gods.
Kind of like that. I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe there's something more into it. I just obviously haven't seen. But I'm like not really into that. I think if I bought the expansions, I would go Biotech first and then maybe Royalty, and then I'm like, I don't know about the other one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me personally, because I was just like, whatever. But it would be nice to get more of the like mods that add in like racial features and stuff, so you can like build more furry type things, I guess.
Oh, okay.
There's not really much to say about my playthroughs of RimWorld this year, so.
It's just a game you keep returning to, and it's your most played game on Steam apparently this year, right?
Yeah, I think it was like, I forget if it was like 30-40% of the playtime. But I guess the tricky thing with that, though, as well, is I have so many mods and it takes so long to load up that kind of adds to the time.
Yeah,
So that's
I
kind of
guess.
cheaty, I guess.
That is something I've noticed. That game takes just.
That's a kind of a me issue.
And
Like,
again,
if you just load up the game itself, it's pretty fucking quick.
yeah, maybe the Minecraft is that same way. So like, I'm using some of the Forge mods, and that like takes a lot longer to load than the Fabric ones do. But I'll get into that later. Anything else you want to say about that before I move on?
No, I'm pretty good. I'm going to go kind of by month unless you bring up games that I played with you, which doesn't happen often. So.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll see, but I just figured we'd pick like our top 5 games of the. I guess I can do 6 if you have a few more. My next game that I'm going to talk about that I spent a lot of time and I really liked, and I think, if I'm being honest, probably up there for my potential game of the year. The next game I really dove into right after Power World, because they released around the same time, and Shrouded came out. I think it was still early access. Is it still early access? But Enshrouded came out shortly after Power World, and it's basically a big open world where you have like this RPG, and you're just kind of like
Crafting survival, right?
crafting survival. Yeah, exactly. And there's an element of like, what happened to the world? There's a bunch of ruins. There's not many people left. In fact, back when I played, there was like only 5 other people you could find. And
The
you could,
NPCs.
yeah, you would recruit them, and they'd come back to your town or house, and you could build a house, or you could just move into an old, dilapidated building that you found. You can set up anywhere you want. Well, within reason. You can't like set up in a boss room or something, you know. But
I guess that makes sense.
generally, if you see a building in the overworld and it's like, it's a fixer upper, we could fix it up. That's what I ended up doing. I found this cool ranch house. I set up there, fixed up the roofs and the walls, and invited the 5 NPCs. They each had their own like section of the house or rooms or whatever, and one was like a carpenter, one's a blacksmith, one's a cook, one was a hunter, and then like the last guy was like some alchemist magician dude. And they all give you different quests. They all have like little mini stories that are kind of, whatever. But the world is what really drew me to that game, and like the RPG systems. It has like a talent tree, so you can like spec into like, you want to be a warrior, do you want to be like a ranger with a hunter, or more of a magic person. I kind of always kind of do like a spell sword kind of thing, so a mix of like warrior and mage. And the game is really flexible, but the thing that really surprised me the most about Enshrouded was it hit a lot of those same excitement feelings that I had playing Breath of the Wild.
Really?
It was honestly like, if somebody else made Breath of the Wild, Enshrouded is like the closest thing, in my opinion.
I would not have guessed that one, actually.
Minus the climbing. There's no climbing. You do get like a gliding thing, but there's just something about this big open world, and you're stumbling upon these ruins, and you can read all these little books and stories, and there's a few quests to guide you along the way, and there's some like mini dungeons, and there's just like all the cool stuff you find. I don't know, the exploration in that game really made me, it felt like the highs I felt when playing Breath of the Wild.
Well, that's seems like a good review to me.
Yeah, and I freaking love Breath of the Wild. That's probably one of my favorite games of all time. Like up there in the top 4, probably top 3 of my favorite games of all time. So Enshrouded is amazing, and they keep working on it and updating it. It's only $30, and there's so much content. And now even more. Like they've added, when I played, there was like 5 NPCs you can get. Now there's a bunch more, and like also just townsfolk that you can recruit. So you can like build a little town and like have the NPCs like doing stuff, and they're wandering around, and like you're basically bringing this world back to life that's been like enshrouded in this stuff, right? So you're fighting back whatever is like causing this.
Yeah, because there's like pockets of what, like a purple smog or something that you can go into, but you have to get out within a certain amount of time before you die.
Yeah, that's the enshrouded bit. I forget if it's like if they call it fog. I think they just call it the shroud, and it's very mushroomy, I guess, encoded.
Oh, fungi.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of like look to it, and in the shroud, you can find like old ruined towns, and like a lot of it's covered in fungus and stuff, and like the zombie monsters you find in there are very mushroomy looking.
See, I was almost gonna equate when you were talking about another game similar to Enshrouded. I was gonna be like, oh, Fallout 76 or something.
No.
Because it's like, well, instead of radiation, it's just the shroud, and there's a few NPCs. And when like Fallout 76 first came out, it was no NPCs.
Well, I mean, every game kind of has its own version of the shroud, the radiation, the blight, or whatever. Like think of Breath of the Wild had its like the Ganon blight stuff.
Oh, I guess.
Like
Yeah, I guess I kind of forgot about that.
it's just one of those things. It's the icky gooey bad stuff.
Yeah.
Don't stay in it too long. In Enshrouded, you're building these like flame altars, and you kind of like you can fight back the shroud a little bit, and the more of that stuff you have, like the longer you can last in it. And there's also like these little areas where if you destroy this like it looks like a big mushroom that's kind of like a beating heart at the same time. And if you like destroy it, like a little pocket of area will become safe. So there's like that to it, but like I don't know, that's not really the interesting part about Enshrouded. That's just kind of like little mini dungeons you can go in. Like, oh, there's this pocket of a shroud, and there's a thing at the end that you can go do.
And you like clear that area.
Yeah, and like I don't think it stays clear forever, but it's mostly just again, it's kind of like a dungeon. But the fun part is when you're going through all these areas, like getting all the loot. It's got that kind of like Diablo thing. Well, not quite like Diablo, but like maybe more like WoW. There's a lot of armor sets, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And some of these armor sets are geared towards like being a tank or being a gladiator or being like a marksman or a sniper or a mage or a healer, etc. So like there's always a lot of like build variety, but then like you can also craft armors and stuff. So for me, I always love that kind of thing. Or like, oh, what am I going to put my talent points into? What kind of armor am I going to wear?
You like the theory crafting.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
yeah. And it's like, oh, this combo of wearing this and using this and putting these two skills together is really good. And yeah, like I would be like my big thing ended up being like just a guy that would shoot fireballs, and then if anyone was survived and they come charging at you, at least you've like
Then stab him in the face.
yeah, then you just fight them one-on-one with like melee. And it's like that was like my play style. So yeah, Enshrouded is amazing. They've added a new update too where they've expanded the map, and I think there's like this snowy biome now, and they've kind of had like the long dark kind of stuff where you have to worry about the cold.
Right.
So you have to worry about the cold, you have to worry about your food, you have to worry about your water. And honestly, it's like I say you have to worry about food and water, but it's kind of it does it in a way where you don't get punished for not eating or drinking. So if you hate that kind of thing, it's not a big deal. It's more like you get buffs if you keep on top of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, if you eat this food and you go out of your way to cook this stuff, you'll get these bonuses. But you don't technically have to do that if you don't want to. But it's so easy, especially for water, like drinking water out of the well or having some water buckets or what do they call it? Water skins. It's easy, and it's just like free buffs. So I always do it. But I know some people like they just can't stand that stuff. Fallout 76 also used to be like that, where like if you didn't eat and drink, you would get heavily debuffed and maybe lose health. But then they're like, you know what, screw it. We're just going to make it so that it only buffs you. But I will talk about Fallout 76 later. For now, I guess it's your turn.
Oh boy. I mean, I really just can't keep up with how much you go into detail about things, which is fine. Like, I love sitting here and just listening to you, but like the first thing I can think of, I guess it was the full game. It's so short and it's free, so it feels more like a demo than anything. Is Doroko Wanko? Do you remember playing that? The little Pomeranian that gets and spills paint everywhere and just destroys the entire house.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing YouTubers play it. I don't think I ever played it myself.
Yeah, I think I played it and you kind of like watched a little bit. So that was a fun
really
game.
cute.
And yeah, it's cute. It's quick.
It's free.
It's free. Yeah, like there's basically no reason to not play this unless you literally have to cause violence to enjoy a game.
Well, I didn't play it because it was just such a short thing. And
Well, no, I know. Like in the sense of you, just watching is also fine. I'm just saying for like anyone else. I guess you could just watch a YouTuber play it if that's how you want to enjoy it. But
you could literally
I'd say you
finish
could
that
just-
game in like an hour or two.
yeah, it's not long. Just have fun, be a little puppy, run around, destroy a house. I wouldn't even call them quests, but like objectives, I guess, if that's an easier version of quest or something. It's just cute.
It's silly and almost in a katamari kind of way.
I guess in the sense that like the graphics are pretty simple.
It's simple and silly, yeah.
Yeah, it's just got that. I don't know. Would it count as a Japanese vibe? The house doesn't
Yeah,
really
I
look
mean,
Japanese though.
It's literally a Japanese title.
Well, yes, I know, but Doronko Wanko, if that makes it any. It's spelled exactly how I said it. Doronko Wanko. So yeah, just as a little language lesson, I guess. Doronko. What did we find that was like messy or something? I think.
Oh.
Because I already know Wanko is just
or muddy.
puppy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like dirty or muddy puppy. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cute game, and I'm not good at explaining things. So
It's also a very small game. There's not much to say about it.
true. Another short, small game that I played, and technically I got it in a bundle years ago, A Mortician's Tale. So I went over this in one of the past podcasts, which I guess technically all these games we kind of did.
I didn't really talk about Power World or Enshrouded because that was way before we started the podcast.
That's true. So I went over that earlier, and it's a good game. It's a short game. It's a story-based game. You just go through the basics of working as a mortician, really. You prep the bodies, and you get a little bit of snippets of the person's life that they had before they passed away, or what caused them to pass away. And then you just go to the funeral and get more snippets of the person's life and their family dynamics and stuff like that.
So basically, it's an interactive graphic novel kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Because, like, when you prep the body, it's not super realistic. It's very easy. But it's interesting and just gives a quick little look. And it's not graphic. It doesn't get into super details of, like, the bodies aren't mangled, even though one of the bodies was, like, in a car crash. But it's completely whole, so if you get squeaked out easily by gore or anything, this is not going to cause you any issues. But it was a good game. It was a nice little indie game.
Yeah, you seem to really enjoy it, and I saw you playing it multiple times.
Yeah, because it's so quick, so I just went through, like, I forget if it was just once or maybe twice. Just get, like, certain achievements. I know it's silly, but... Oh, there was also the, like, other part of the game where it was talking about, like, the fact of these big conglomerate businesses taking over small family-owned businesses and stuff. So it also has that kind of angle to it, if that's something you're vaguely into. Do you want to go over another one of your games, or are mine short enough I just, like, roll them off?
I guess my next game, since I know this is one you already talked on the podcast, probably one of the first ones I talked about on the podcast was Unicorn Overlord.
Oh, yes.
Unicorn Overlord is a strategy RPG on the Switch. I think it's also on PS4 or 5. I don't know. I played it on the Switch. I wish it was on PC, but it's not on PC.
Boo.
But yeah, it was really good. The story was, it's just okay. It's one of those games where the overarching story is fine. It kind of gets more interesting towards the end, but like not really a whole lot. But a lot of the the stories that are told like in the chapters are more interesting.
Like side stories?
More like the, well, yes, some of the side stories, but more like the chapters inside of it. Like when you go to like the icy northern country, that has its own little story of what's happening with the animal people there, and like you found out one of the main antagonists in that place is like this guy from this other country, and he's there basically trying to enslave like some of these animal people because they're really good at fighting. And then like one of his second in command is this like weird little hunched over dude, and he's really cool looking, I guess, but you don't really know what he is because he's got a helmet on. But then like spoilers towards the end,
he's one of the animal people.
He's one of those animal dudes, and he like basically kills the antagonist dude, and he becomes the new antagonist, and it's like, yeah, I don't agree with what he was doing, blah, 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 but us animal people have to have our own strength, blah, 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 whatever, his own little thing. I'm not going to go into like the whole details, but it was really cool and like surprising. And what was really even more surprising, I mean, I guess minor spoilers here, but
oh no,
he was a little rat dude.
No.
So he's like this tiny little rat, and like part of his story is like, I'm like the smallest of the animals, but also like, look at me, I'm leading this new army, and I'm become like the strongest or whatever. And there's just like, it was so appealing. The little story, his story, and the story of that nation was fun. The story of the elf lands was okay.
I mean, they're elves, whatever. They're just really long-lived humans with pointy ears.
But the story of the dragon, it's called the Dragon Nation because there's like dragon riders, but like it's just people. It's just a different kingdom of people. But like their story there was really cool. Like there's this missing prince, and like his younger brother has to like take up the mantle, and like, what the hell happened to my brother? And there's this one point where their castle, you basically have to retake the castle from the invading force, and like that mission where you're like joining up with this young prince again to like charge into the castle, and like the music that plays in that chapter is so good. The game is beautiful, and like a lot of the music is good, but for some reason that chapter specifically is probably like the best track in the game. Then there's also like another nation with like angels and stuff, and like, oh, there's this pope, and like, what's wrong with the pope thing? Is this an undead pope?
Oh shit.
So like there's a bunch of weird stuff, and it's like,
I mean, it wouldn't be the first dead pope in history, so
it's, yeah, there's a lot of it's cool. There's so many, like, and each nation has like different units. Like the elf country has a bunch of elf units, obviously, and like the Popey Holy Land has a bunch of like angel units, and they have like their own unique thing too, like, oh, they're flying types or whatever. So like you have to worry about all your units because there's so many. Like, I'm not going to go into all of them, but like you got your heavy armor dudes, you got your cavalry dudes, you got like the spear dudes that counter the cavalry, and then you got like the mages that counter the heavy armor dudes, and archers, and the flying units, and like the different types of animals and angels and elves. It's like so much. And because you get like, I think you get 10 like group battalions, yeah, and each battalion can have like up to 5 units. Even though you get so many characters, you use them all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, yeah, if you recruit everybody, you can't use everybody because even that is too many characters. But yeah, like, it's just so fun to have like a huge cast of like 50 plus characters, and just like toying together, like, ooh, this guy works really good with her, or this guy is really good in the team with this person, they really buff each other, or they cover their weaknesses, or whatever. Like,
it's your need to theory craft all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the, I know I talked about this on one of the very early versions of the podcast, but like on my second playthrough, I'm like, okay, I know if I sacrifice this bandit dude and let this angel lady kill him, she'll join your party really early, way before like you should be getting this angel. And she is so powerful because she attacks twice in one turn when like everyone else is doing one. But not only that, she can counterattack twice too. So like everyone else is like doing one attack and maybe like one reaction move. But I had her set up where she was basically swinging her sword like 4 times in one battle, where everyone else is basically doing once.
What the hell?
And this is like so early in the game. It's like, and then I'm like, okay, she's going to be in the front, and then people are going to be buffing her, making sure she's alive, and just
she's just like wiping everything in front of you.
Yeah, she's just like this angel of death, and it was so cool.
Which is ironic.
Not really.
She's supposed to be an angel of God, right? Or
yeah, and guess what? You know, God loves to fucking kill people.
I mean, I guess.
And in this is no different. A lot of the angels are very like, we have divine Providence, and you better fucking get in line, little human.
Superiority complex.
Yeah, and I mean this is Japanese games, so they're even going further with it. But yeah, there's a lot of games where like just because you see angels doesn't mean that they're gonna be your best friend.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Like play some Shin Megami Tensei if you want more of that. Like, oh, yeah, it's the angels, and they're like, no, they're not here to help you. Anyway, Unicorn Overlord is amazing. I loved it. And it's if I had to rank the games I played this year, it's gotta be between Enshrouded and Unicorn Overlord. But ooh, they're very different games. But
Yeah,
they
I mean,
both
that's
tickle that like theory crafting in me.
that's fair. Maybe
Also,
in 2025 you can make a category of theory crafting games.
also like surprisingly, there's a lot of exploration in a Unicorn Overlord. Like when you think of strategy games like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics or
It's
Front
usually
Mission,
going through like corridors.
it's usually like, oh, you're in one stage and then the next stage and then like the next stage, whatever. But in this you get a big overworld. And you do your fights on the overworld, but you can also just run around and go to the towns and like talk to people and help the towns. You can like bring them stuff to build them up and like fix them up because they're, war torn. And if you fix them up enough, you can like even garrison some of your dudes there to help like gather supplies. And it's like there's just
Was
so
this also
much.
the game where you had like a little mini game of like shoveling or something?
Yeah, there's some mines. There's certain areas where you can mine. And I don't remember why I did it. I think like it must have been like to get like certain steel or iron ore or some sort of crap like that. I don't remember why I even needed it.
I just remember an interesting sound that would play when you were digging up things.
Yeah, the little mining minigame was it was whatever. It's fine, but obviously it's not like the biggest draw of the game. But it's just so cool because like you get this huge overworld that you can just wander around and you see the towns. You can go to the towns and talk to the people and supply your troops. But like when fights happen, it's that same overworld. So it's like the sense of scale you get for the world is really nice. I can't say enough good things about Unicorn Overlord. I loved it. I think that is technically the only like full release 2024 game I played, because technically Power World and Enshrouded came out in 2024, but I mean those are kind of like games
Early
that they
access.
keep getting updated.
That too.
So Unicorn Overlord is just done. There's no DLC. It's just buy it once and it's done. And it was good. I loved it.
Is it weird that that feels like such a thing we have to explain these days?
I don't know. I mean, I guess a lot of games are like that nowadays, aren't they?
Feels like it. Like even the games I play, like RimWorld, I mean, it does get continuous updates and they do, every periodically they come out with a new expansion, and expansions aren't exactly a new thing themselves.
I guess for Unicorn Overlord, the thing about that too is because it's a JRPG with like a story. The story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has a finality to it. When you beat the game, you get the ending. Even though there's like technically one post-game like mission, it's just kind of a bonus mission. It's not really canon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for my games, like a Mortician's Tale, you buy it and it's done.
Yeah, so that's probably another thing where like Pal World and Enshrouded kind of has like a story, but it's one of those like environmental stories where you learn a lot about the world through like old journals and stuff like that and finding dead people, because there was only like 5 NPCs, and while those NPCs do have like stories of their own and characters, it's not like there's not a lot of drama with them. It's mostly like, hey, I left some old stuff in this one building way before, and you go there and you find out like, oh,
Can
the
you go
carpenter
fetch it for me?
yeah, the carpenter had like a daughter or something. And it's like, this that kind of story, not like Unicorn Overlord, where it's like, what is happening in this world? What's the bad guy's motivation? And what is happening with all these people that are quote unquote brainwashed? Maybe they're not brainwashed. Maybe there's something else.
Whereas in like when I'm playing RimWorld is a storyteller game.
You're
In
making
this
up your own
sense-
thing, yeah.
Yes, not only are you making up your own thing, but every game is going to be different because things are so randomized.
Anyway, I think that's enough for Unicorn. We should move on to your next game.
Fair. Let's move on to Death and Taxes. So this is another, what I would assume is an indie game. It's kind of interesting because you start off, you are, I guess you could say, a death. There's not just one death, it's a whole bureaucracy
Oh, wow.
and office. What?
I think I'm getting this and Mortician's Tale all mixed up in my head then.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Death and Taxes has you get a certain, you're working at a desk, you're getting a certain amount each day of profiles, I guess you would call it, and you get to choose who lives and who dies.
Mm-hmm.
You will each day your boss, I forgot, I can see his face and his voice and stuff. I forget what his, I think it's Fate. I think you literally work for Fate. He will give you the profiles and he will give you a criteria to meet every single day. So the criteria you have to meet is like, okay, you have to, out of these 5 profiles, you have to kill 2 or something. So you can decide if you kill only the 2, maybe you kill 3, you kill all of them. It's up to what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the workday, because this is your job, it's a workday, it eventually ends. You can go down to the bar if it's open and see who's around and talk to the different people who work in the different sections, because there's like a plant you can talk to who works in the plant section, I guess, basically. So you're just working in like the human section, and there's a plant section and an animal section of who dies and who lives, and etc., etc. It's a really good game. It's going to be a story game, a narration game. The voices are all very well done. The story is interesting. I've played this. This is another game because it's a bit longer than Mortician's Tale, of course, but it's still short enough where you can play multiple times. And the good thing about playing this multiple times is you can do different storylines with Fate. Mm. So I went through the first storyline and I was just basically following all the instructions as I was told to do. And then in the second run through, I did more of a storyline where I tried to become Fate's best friend to try and get more information from him.
Hmm.
And that was kind of interesting, and I wish I could remember more of the details, but my brain doesn't hold that for long. But I will just say, again, it's just a good game, a short game, an indie game to play. It probably doesn't cost much. I think I got this one in also another bundle. I have a lot of games from bundles.
Yeah, me too.
So, I don't know. Go play it.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess, moving right along, I'll try to be quick about these, but Steam says my most played game this year was Fallout 76, which is interesting because I almost forgot about it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you played it for that long.
I had, earlier this year, I went back to Fallout 76 to play through the new Pittsburgh and Atlantic City content. So Pittsburgh is in the pit, which there's a Fallout 3 DLC that's all about Pittsburgh and like all the terrible stuff that's happened in there in the game world, not in real life. The pit DLC for, well, I don't know if you want to call it DLC for Fallout 76, but the pit expansion for Fallout 76 was kind of just whatever. I mean, it's not great. I know a lot of other, the general consensus is like it's kind of underwhelming. It's cool to go through there, but like it was whatever.
So they just do it as a quick add-on to like, oh, remember when we did this in the previous game?
It's just like it's kind of like these daily missions that you can do. Like every day you can go in there. Technically, you can do them as many times as you want in a day, but you only get like super bonus rewards for the first time you do it in a day. And it's basically like a dungeon run. Like, oh, go to this section of the pit and do this and this and do this and this and like whatever. You get rewards. Atlantic City takes that concept and does it a little bit better. There's also now like a story thing too. Like you run into this family from Jersey, because Atlantic City is in New Jersey for those that don't know, and they've basically escaped Jersey City, and you have to figure out why. Their dad is like
because it's Jersey.
Their dad is like, okay, it's this old guy, the dad, the mom, and like the 2 kids, but the kids are like adults. The dad is like old and senile, and he's got like dementia, and he's just like, he's very jolly and friendly and like,
oh god, that's not what you need in the Fallout universe.
In a dementia kind of way. So it's like, Dad, you already said hi to us or whatever. Like, he's just very friendly, but you kind of figure, like, trying to figure out what is going on with this family. And, like, the daughter has, like, this drug problem from, like, this specific drug from Atlantic City. And, like, you have to figure out a way to help them. And, well, because it's Fallout, you know, there's always going to be some weird stuff. Like, one of the cryptids that they introduce in this is the Jersey Devil. And the Jersey Devil is basically, it's not like a death claw. It's like this new monster thing. But,
I mean, the Jersey Devil, does it have wings? Is it kind of like what it appears in Jeepers Creepers, or is that a completely different
I don't know.
cryptid?
I'm not big on the Jersey Devil lore for real, so like the real versions of them. But in Fallout, it's just basically kind of like this monster-looking thing, and it's not just a monster. It's like a new species that's out there, and they were using its blood to make drugs.
Oh, Jesus.
And you're like trying to figure out what's going on with that, and
isn't that Bloodborne?
Yes and no. Yes, but in a different way.
Okay.
And oh my god, I would love to talk about that one day, but we're not going to talk about Bloodborne right now. It's more goofy than that in Fallout, because Fallout is very goofy. Turns out the old man is not, he's only pretending to be dementia, and he's just like this mobster.
What the fuck?
And like you get like this mobster side of the story, and it's all really well done, actually, which surprised me. Like, I mean,
I guess Jersey City and mobsters is not a surprise.
Yeah. And, like, just the old man character and, like, I don't know. It worked on me. I thought his character was funny. Like,
that's fair.
It was good. So going through there and, like, the different sections of the city, it was a lot of fun. And after I did all that and, like, got some of the new weapons and experienced all the new content, I just basically said, well, okay, that was fun. I'm done for now.
We'll be back next time.
Yeah, like there's been a new update with a whole new landmass to explore. I had gone back thinking that was out, but that wasn't what was out yet. So, but I still got to experience Atlantic City, and that was fun. So one day I will go back to Fallout 76 and try out the new.
Did you do any gambling?
There is a little bit of there's like slot machines, I think. I forget if there's more than that.
I mean, geez, if you have slots, you gotta have tables, right? Unless there's some kind of law.
There are tables. I think they have implemented that in a way, but I've never been big on gambling in games like this. Like, I don't care.
Okay.
Even like Pokemon's, like, I don't want to play slot machines in these fucking
games.
games.
I mean, Pokemon's gambling is very minimal for obvious reasons.
I think it's pretty minimal in this too.
Damn.
It's basically just caps, and like Fallout 76, it's easy to get to your cap limit, so I'm like always sitting on like more caps than I can.
I mean, I guess it's just like, well, if they got like 21.
I know there was this drama for the game
craps.
Where somebody had gone on Twitter or something. They're like, "What is this Atlantic City? I can't even gamble." And then they're like, "Are you in this country or this country?" Because they're like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, that's because Bethesda had to remove the gambling from certain regions."
Oof.
But for, people in the US, yeah, it's technically still in there. But it's like, it's not even that big of a deal. Like, it's not like, that's not one of the draws to the game. So,
I mean, I guess that's fair.
You're there to explore, to get the new loot. And for some people like me to enjoy the new little story segments. So,
I guess I just hear Atlantic City, and I have stories of Grandma going there when she was younger with her girlfriends at the time, and
it has made me interested to go to Atlantic City in real life one day just to see it.
At least in the 90s, it sounded like an East Coast Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like that anymore. So it's like, even if we went to Atlantic City, it's probably not going to be what I assumed it was back
I wouldn't
then.
even want to go to gamble or anything. I just want to see the city and like the boardwalk and stuff.
I'd want to do it a little bit, but yeah.
And I know there's like a special GameRomp Suddenly train podcast. There's this Amtrak deal where like if you take a certain ticket with Amtrak, they even give you like a $20 like thing to use at the casinos. Yeah.
Sweet. I'll take yours.
Anyway, that was Fallout 76. It was fun to go back to it. It's as a live service game that keeps getting updated. That's probably one of the few ones that I drop back in and out because I love Fallout and the world and just existing in that goofy ass world. It's fun.
Oh yeah, was that the one that got an update? Now you can be a ghoul.
Yeah, that's the newest update that I haven't played through yet.
Maybe we should try that because I want to be a ghoul.
I don't really want to be a ghoul, but
I'm so fucking sick of being a human.
It has its pros and cons, and I was like, But there's just this whole new section of the map, so that's the main reason for me to want to go back and play. But yeah, that is a new update.
Okay. Oh, here's one that we kind of played together, Metal Slug Tactics. Now, this was only...
That was just a demo, though.
Okay, but technically it did come out this year, and we played the demo, so close enough, whatever.
Okay, we can talk about the demo if you want.
And it's also something that we played together, or sort of.
But we already talked about this on the podcast, and it's like, it's
okay,
not
but...
Oh, what do you want to say about Metal Slug Tactics?
Yeah, why do I keep... I do that too, confusing it with, like, Metal Gear or something. I don't know. I thought it was good. The game came out. Do you remember how much it is?
Nope.
I wonder if it would be worth it. Do you think maybe one day? Would you ever want to play the full thing, I guess?
I don't know. Like, part of me wants to say yes, and the other part of me, I think...
Maybe when
you're putting me on the spot here. I don't know.
Discount.
I don't know. I haven't really gave it much thought. I do want to play it, I guess.
Eventually.
I'm just not in a huge rush to, because there's other stuff I want to play.
That's fair. Okay, I guess before I get to the Craft, that was another demo that I played. That seemed good. The name is kind of dumb, but whatever. I don't know if...
I just think we shouldn't really be bringing up demos for our Game of the Year discussion.
Well, I'm not really ranking them. I'm just saying I'm just going over what I actually played this year.
I guess we have different goals for this then.
Clearly. Okay, here's the next one, Dicey Dungeons. That one I played a lot of.
Yeah, see, that one's an interesting one to bring up, because, yeah, that is a full game that you played a ton of.
Yeah, but it didn't come out this year, so, like...
So what? Fallout 76 didn't come out this year, and a lot of the games that I'm talking... Well, actually, Power World did. But
okay, so I guess...
3 of the games I'm going to be talking about this year didn't come out this year.
Okay, so I guess as long as it's a full game.
Anything that you played that, yeah, you feel is worth talking about, my personal games of the year is what I'm asking you. What are your personal games of the year?
I'm not good with choosing things. That's why I wrote out the list.
I'm not asking you to pick the game of the year. I'm saying games, like your top 5.
Okay,
top 3.
I guess then Dicey Dungeons would be one of them.
Exactly. So let's talk Dicey Dungeons.
So Dicey Dungeons is... How do I explain Dicey Dungeons? So you're playing in what appears to be a game show. At least, yeah, it's a game show. You're playing as literally a little dice person, but I guess you were a person before it died, because it shows like a shadow when you first unlock the character, and it's not a dice shape.
Mm.
But then when they reveal the character, it's suddenly a dice. And the host of the games is supposedly Lady Luck, and I say that because I feel like maybe she's more of the devil. Because the further you go in the quote-unquote story of this game, it feels like you're basically in hell and you're trying to find your way out of it.
Hmm.
So maybe she's the devil, or maybe Lady Luck is just like that weird in this universe. I don't know.
Just a demon thing.
I guess.
It's very lighthearted, by the way. It's not
yeah,
scary.
It's not scary. It's goofy. It's cartoony. It's perfectly acceptable for a kid to play. Like, there's no swearing or anything bad about this game.
Well, for me, one of the things I really liked about Dice and Dungeons, I don't remember if I played it this year or the year before, but
how far did you get?
I don't remember. It's just one of those games where you can come in for like a game or two. Just they're very quick, like what, 10, 20 minutes each run.
I think that's why I've put quote unquote so much time into this game this year, because yeah, you can just, oh, I got like half an hour. Okay, I'll just go in for a quick game, and if you're lucky, it'll last half an hour or something.
Yeah.
More than likely, you're probably gonna end up losing the game before then. I did manage, so the first dice character that you play in is like supposedly like a little warrior soldier, whatever you want to call it, and it's the easiest class to play. Okay, fine.
Most basic.
It gives
most
a star
straightforward
rating.
Yeah,
sure, whatever.
I feel like some of the other classes are easier, but in some ways
maybe. So I managed to finish all 5 episodes of The Warrior, which is why I would say he's the easiest one. He's got the 1 star, etc., etc. because every time I keep trying to play the other classes, and I got there, I finished, I think, everyone's first episode, because there's like 5 episodes for each character. I cannot fucking get past the second episode for like the thief character, which is like the second die. It's the second easiest character supposedly, and I just cannot get the last 3 fucking doors. It is such an absolute pain in the ass. But it's like it's mostly luck based, but it's also somewhat skill based, because you got to figure out how to work things in your favor as best as you can, but it's still based on luck. So how much of your own skill can actually do anything with that, I don't know. Like the third door, or the third episode for the thief, the criteria or the name of the game, whatever you want to call it, you'll roll all 1s for your die on the first turn. Your second turn, they'll all be 2, and then 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. And you can manipulate it to some degree, but if you just don't have the right weapons to work all the time with, oh, I'm going to have 5 die and they're all going to be 6s. Oh, everything I have to use is like, oh, you have to use 3 or less. You're basically fucked.
Well, that's why that's part of the strategy. You have
No,
to...
I know. And it's like, yeah, there's strategy, but there's also pure dumb luck too. Because like, well, you just happen to pick up all these weapons that can only use 1s and 2s or some crazy thing. Like, how much of it is strategy when most of it is luck?
That's also part of the roguelike fun of it too, where each run, like, you might come to different equipment. Like, oh, this run I got this thing that'll be interesting to use, or this run I have this tool that will let me do this other thing. It's like each run is different, and since each run is so fast, it doesn't feel bad when you lose. Like in some other games where you lose, it's like, oh, I just lost 20 minutes of my life. In this, it's like, it kind of like, it doesn't feel that way.
I mean, at first, sure, but if you're trying to get through the same fucking episode like the 10th time, and you're like, why can I not just get to the boss in this? I don't understand why I'm screwing up so badly. Then you have the other characters.
Yeah, that was for me too. Like if I got frustrated with one character, I just play something else.
Yeah, I like playing as was it the computer or the little like
the
robot or whatever? Because playing the CPU kind of thing, it definitely has its almost, if you will, a gambling risk to it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. The inventor is fun in her own way, but the episode that I've been trying to get through is you have to replace all of her things at the end. And it's like, I think one time I actually ran out of things to replace, so I lost because of that. That was unfortunate. It's a good game. It's complicated. I want to learn more of the story, but I'm too fucking stupid to get through the episodes.
See, this is a game where I really liked, but I don't consider it a game where I think about the story at all.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like, okay, I know it's not much of a story, but I want to know, 1, do these characters actually get out of their hell, or is this hell and they're stuck there forever? 2, is it actually Lady Luck, or is she literally the devil? I want to know these things, but I can't because I can't get through the fucking game.
Well, what happened after the Warrior when you finished that? You said you finished the Warrior, right?
Yeah, I don't think he got out, but I'm just wondering, like, do I have to finish all the episodes of all the characters to finally get them out or something?
I doubt it.
There's gotta be something. Ugh.
I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
I know. I'm sure I could just go on YouTube and find someone that's already done it, but
anyway, well, Dicey Dungeons is fun.
Sort of. Mostly. It's
addicting too, in the kind of like one more game kind of way.
Yeah, I've gotten that a couple of times.
But
one more turn.
I guess I'll talk about I only have 2 more games to talk about, and I'll be brief. But the other game that I spent a lot of time this year on was Genshin Impact, because
Was this the first year you played it, or did you start last year?
No, I started when it first started back in like 1.0. So we were currently on 5.2. 5.3 starts in just tomorrow, actually. By the time this podcast comes out, 5.3 will be out, which means the Pyro Archon will be playable, and she's MiHoYo has jumped the shark with this game, basically, literally with a motorcycle and everything.
Well,
But
they also literally had a shark.
yeah, true. So we got the motorcycle and the shark, so we just got to get somebody to jump over the shark girl with the motorcycle girl.
Oh my god, that should be a thing.
Natlan aside, I came back after I had stopped playing around towards the end of 2.0, which was back in the Japan era. I think it's called Inazuma, but it's basically Genshin's version of Japan. So when I came back, I had all of Sumeru to explore, which is basically India and like rainforests and stuff. But it also is like it borders this desert region, so that's fun. I really liked Sumeru. Sumeru's story and the characters were really good. There was this like whole point of the story where like there was a lot about samsara and dreams and things repeating. And there was one point where like it was almost like Groundhog's Day, the movie, where like this day is repeating. And like as you're playing the story, you're seeing things happen again, and like the game doesn't tell you like, hey, this is this thing again, until you start realizing it, and then your character starts realizing it at the same time. And then like Paimon starts realizing it, like, and she's your voice, so she makes it clear. If you're so dumb that you haven't realized it by now, Paimon will tell you, hey, something is wrong. But like this whole section of the Sumeru where like things are repeating and like what is going on, it was so well done. Like that was probably one of my favorite stories in the entire game. And there's like this one point where basically to break out of this cycle, this samsara cycle that they're like trapped in, I hate how the character's called the Traveler, but your character, the Traveler, has to basically leave Paimon behind, and like there's this little drama of like, no, we've been together for so long, and like it was really good. It was really good. I was surprised how touching that was. Like Paimon is a funny character. I thought I would hate her, but even like in earlier parts of the game, like I grew to like her in the sense of like the interactions they have together are funny. They're always joking around, and like sometimes she's the butt of the joke, and it's funny. But in this part of the story, it almost made me it made me feel sad for Paimon. Like, wow, they took this character that were always kind of like making the butt of the joke, and like it was really kind of emotional. And basically the whole Sumeru storyline, there's other parts with other characters too, like when you get to the desert and like you meet this girl and she's like traveling with her dad, and they're kind of like mercenaries.
I think you went over that.
And like that whole story was so good too. And that was like the 3.0 version of the game. 4.0 comes out, that's Fontaine. I basically rejoined the game at the very tail end of 4.8. So like I got to go to Fontaine, and basically it's France with robots. They have like clockwork robots and like
steampunk.
Yeah, and like it's a nation of water, and like there's this underwater prison as well, and they're the nation of laws. So like you get there, and one of the first thing the game does is like, oh, we're gonna watch this magic show, and surprise, it's a murder, and now we're at court, and it's fucking Phoenix Wright, and you're like you're in basically like trying to be the defense attorney for this person being accused of murder, and you have to like investigate, and like then you're at court, and you have to present your cases and like figure out who done it, basically. And it's really good, and the music is really good, and the characters were really interesting. You meet like the prosecutor, and like the Hydro Archon is like, she's not really like in charge of the courts, but she's always there to watch it because she just enjoys the show, and it's very showmanshipy, and like you're trying to figure out what is going on here. And I didn't go into like the Dendro, the Archon of Sumeru, but that was another thing too. Like, where is the Dendro Archon? Why aren't they here? And it turns out like one of the old Dendro Archons is dead, and like apparently the new one is being imprisoned or something. Like the people are using her. Like there's different like stories of the Archons. So like when you're in Fontaine, like, oh, okay, now we know like these gods aren't always like in full power. Even in Mondstadt, like you learn like the Wind Archon
kind of just like
he doesn't really want to be like a god. He's just kind of like, you guys have freedom, they don't even know he exists, basically, and he kind of likes that. But then like you get to Liyue, and like their god is like more involved, and like he's like, he invented commerce and economy, and like showed people how to use money like to prevent conflicts or whatever, and like that's a whole story. And like you get there, it's like, oh, surprise, he's dead. but is he really? And like, what is happening? Anyway.
Wait, hold on a second. He made money to prevent conflicts? Doesn't money make conflicts?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of wars before that too, so. Anyway, you get to Fontaine and you're trying to figure out like what's going on here. Why are they so obsessed with courts and, you know, court battles or whatever? And like there's this mechanism that basically is kind of like drawing energy from these courtroom proceedings. And like, what's up with the Hydro Archon? Why does she act this way? And like, who's really in charge? Who really has the power? And you find out, spoilers, that like the Hydro Archon isn't who she seems to be. But that's for a good reason, because basically people have to think she is the Hydro Archon, because if they find out she's not, like, there's going to be this huge calamity, and like then you like feel for her, like, holy shit, she's been going through all this pretending to be this person that she's not, and like
are you excited to find out what happens in the next update?
That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, you can feel like I really loved the stories of Sumeru and Fontaine so much. I thought they were so good. I get to Natlan, and I'm going to be honest with you, the stories in this part, in the 5.0 sections of the game for Natlan, they've not been that good, to be honest with you. Like, Sumeru and Fontaine were amazing. Natlan, I am not, like, super feeling.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I'm just getting kind of through it, and like...
So we're not going to be listening to much of a summary with your enthusiasm.
I mean, they're fighting the Abyss. I don't know how much you got into the story, if they even mentioned the Abyss yet.
Probably not.
There's just like, oh, we're in constant conflict and war with the Abyss, and it's just like, it doesn't feel like that when you're exploring, because everyone's very party. Like, the first town you visit in Natlan, like, there's just dancing and music, and like they have some really good music. I should show you or make you listen to the night version of that town song, because I fucking love it. But the vibe of Natlan just is weird. It's fun in its own way, but it's just weird. It doesn't feel cohesive. It doesn't have like the punch that either Sumeru and that weird Samsara story, or Fontaine and like the courts and like what's going on with the Archon. Here, it's just like, well, there's the Archon, she's powerful, and oh, she's having a DBZ battle with this other guy, dude. And it's like, oh, then you find out, like, I think you've only met one of the Harbingers when you played. Like, that one lady that stole Venti's little Gnosis or whatever. You probably don't even remember.
Nope.
Anyway, some of those are, like, antagonistic. They're from the Snezhnaya country. Yeah, the Russian people. Some of them are very antagonistic, and some of them are kind of like either or. Like the next guy you meet, he seems very friendly at first, and you are best friends, and he gives you a ton of money, and then like...
Then he fucking backstabs you and throws it out a window.
Then he like backstabs you, and you have a boss battle. But then he's like, well, hey, you know what? You win. Let's be friends. It's like, he's one of those like stereotypical anime dudes who's like, fighting is fun, and that was a fun fight. And so it's like, well, okay, whatever. But then like you meet another one, and like... What's this guy? He's kind of like this weird little puppet guy, and he's fucking crazy. But then you meet like this doctor dude, and he's like a mad scientist guy who really doesn't care about the people that he experiments on. But then like in Fontaine, the Harbinger you meet there was actually really interesting, and she's like in this like crime family which she was brought up in, and she basically had to like, oh god, I'm gonna spoil everything, but like there's this whole story.
Don't spoil it.
There's this whole story with her that I really loved. And her story in Fontaine was really good. And it's like, what happened to her in her childhood? What is this person that's hanging around? What's with the mother and the father of the family? And it was so good. It was so good. The only thing I will say is I hate that some of these fucking anime characters look so goddamn stupid. Like, this character, the Harbinger in Fontaine that you deal with, she's called the Knave. And some of the people call her a father.
Just call her the Navel.
And it's like, she has a really cool story, and like what she went through when she was a kid in this family, and like how she usurped power from the mother because she was fucking crazy. And now she's still like keeping control of the family, but she's doing it in kind of like a less horrible way. Like before, it's like, if you betray the family, we're going to kill you. Now it's like, if you betray the family,
we'll just exile you.
With like this like mind erasing drugs. So basically, there was a story like these people, they don't want to be here anymore. They're like, I wish I had a normal life. And they go through this whole thing, you're betraying the family. So they find a way to like drug them to like make them lose their memory.
Oh, that seems fair.
And it's like, in a way, they're dying to us, but at least they can go live.
Yeah, that's certainly more humane.
So like this character is very interesting and like her story is good, but I hate her design.
Does she have like buckles everywhere?
No. It's shit. One thing, she has silver hair and like,
oh Jesus,
which is fine if you're an old ass person, but like even when they were showing her backstory as a kid, she had the fucking silver hair, and I hate that.
Although I will say there was one kid I knew in like middle school, and she had white hair. So, but
the worst part of her design is instead of pupils, she has like X's in her eyes.
Oh no,
I hate that kind of thing. The Hydro Archon 2 also has these weird eyeball things, and I just give them normal eyes, please. I don't know. That's a me thing. That is definitely a me thing. I don't like eyes when they're fucking crazy looking. But it's just weird to be like, we're telling this touching story of these two like teenage girls, and like they don't even start as teenagers, they're like 9-year-old girls stuck in this family that this mother is like training these kids to be like mafiosos and training them to fight, and she doesn't give a shit about them. And like honestly, it was a really good story, but whenever you see the cutscenes or whatever, and you see this fucking little anime girl with silver hair and X's in her eyes, it's so hard to take seriously. Especially when the other character just looks like a normal anime character. She had brown hair, regular eyes. But no, she's character, not special enough. She has red X's in her eyes, and she has crazy hair. It's like, come on, dude. It's that stupid meme of like, oh, here's this anime school. Guess who the protagonist is? And you see like all these like black-haired kids and the one kid with like the bright blue or pink hair.
Yeah.
It's that. That is the one thing that I don't like about it. But other than that, the stories in Sumeru and Fontaine were amazing. The stories in Natlan, I'm just really not feeling. So I'll keep playing it. There is a little bit of interest in the story with another character that is technically outside of Natlan, but you wouldn't understand anyway, so I'm not even going to go into it. I'll just say the Capitano dude is kind of interesting, and I want to know his deal. But as far as the stories for Natlan itself, it's just kind of like, I don't really care too much, but I'm just going to get through it, so whatever. Genshin Impact is still kind of fun, but it's definitely not as good now that I've got through the Sumeru and Fontaine stuff. I was riding such a high when I was in those areas, but now in Natlan, I'm just like, I'm kind of getting bored. So that's definitely not my game of the year. But hey, whatever. Free updates. It's not like I paid anything. I'm still enjoying it. The music is really good. The cowboy witch lady that rides a flying gun has been incredibly fun to use, and she's super overpowered, so... Any other game you want to talk about? I got one more, so give me a break here. You played a lot
I just can't keep up with that. I guess... Jesus Christ. I guess the game I should fucking talk about is, like, The 1,000-Year Door.
Oh, yeah.
It was a remake. It looked good. It's cute. It's Mario. I don't know. I can't get into stuff like you do.
Wow.
How the fuck do you do this?
I don't know. I'm just talking. I'm just having a conversation.
I'm just bad at talking. It's like, I don't know, fucking...
What is it called? Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door. I played this back in the day when it was on the GameCube. So I remember the story, and I vaguely watched you off and on when you were playing it, but... It's also one of those games where, like, it's really fun, and the characters are really fun, but, like... gameplay-wise, eventually it starts getting kind of like, oh god, another fucking random battle, and I have to do all these mini games.
I mean, that's true, but you do eventually get the badge where I think you can either skip it or win it entirely. I could have sworn there was a badge that had to do with that. Most of the fights were pretty easy. The one last boss battle, I guess because it's a fucking boss battle at the end, it actually was hard, and it did take me quite a few tries, and I had to eventually just accept I couldn't win how I was set up, so I had to go out and get different items and different badges, and then I finally built it up in a way that I could actually finally defeat the boss.
Yeah.
And then I won the game, and it was cute and whatever. And then we went back to the Mushroom Kingdom, I guess, or we went on a ship to somewhere, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, you leave all your friends behind. The fun thing about this game too was that like the Mario parts were fun, but I also really liked the Luigi parts.
Oh yeah, his little side story, which is like basically literally the same story, but in a just
Different place, different characters,
in an alternative
goofy.
universe.
And then you get the Bowser sections where like he's always like one step behind Mario, so like you're going through the same area as you were, but like in a different way. And
just busting shit down. And,
yeah.
like, give me things, and then nope, those things have already been taken. Sorry.
And then like you got the Peach sections where you're like talking to basically a.
Oh yeah, the robot that just wants to love.
Yeah, it's basically the robot from like a Space Odyssey, the little red light bulb thing.
I've never seen a Space Odyssey.
We should watch that. Yeah, it's a fun game. It's cute. The stories are good. The characters are good. They weren't afraid to play with the settings, like making. What are they called? The pinatas? They're not pinatas. The Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, I know the things. Whatever they're called. Just call them pinatas. Who cares?
All right, fine. The pinata people. Like, making them into mobsters and, like...
Yeah, that was pretty
the
cute.
one time where she's like, you have to apologize 100 times.
Oh, my God. And
they actually made you do it.
Oh, that was so bad. It was funny, but it was so bad. That was such a pain in the ass.
It's so... To me, that is so funny, and I think most people agree, but I've also seen some people that are like, that wasn't funny and I hated sitting through that. But to me... Just like the fact that they made you do it is so funny. I love that they're like, yeah, you're sitting through this and we're going to laugh about it. And we're all going to laugh about it when we're done. But some people just don't like that kind of thing. So I don't know, whatever.
It's hard because like at a certain point you can only drill a joke so many times before it's just like, okay, can we please move on? I mean, I did manage to survive it, I'll admit, but thankfully it only happened once.
Wasn't there also like there was a guy in the train who was like the detective and he was a really bad detective and he thought you were Luigi? Or am I misremembering that?
No, he probably did. He was pretty dumb.
That's also a trope, the detective who's stupid, so you're there to fix the mess.
Basically.
But I mean, it's fun. I don't know. I remember loving this game as a kid. I don't know if I could stomach playing through it again now, but yeah, I'm glad you got to enjoy it and actually beat it, which is...
There was the baby Yoshi and he kept calling you Gonzalez.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cute. I think he finally was like, wait, should I actually call you Mario at like the very end? Like, yeah, whatever. Just call me Gonzalez. It's fine.
Yeah, some of the party members were fun. I didn't really care about the big cloud lady.
Yeah, she creeped me out.
I guess, what's the little Goombella? Is that her name? The first one, she was okay. And
I
then
like
Koops,
almost never used her.
Koops was kind of funny. I like the section with Koops where you're like going through the castle and you think, he's like, oh my god, it's my dad. And he's reading the letter like...
No, wait, that's the wrong dude.
Oh, I was like, oh, cool. Phew, it's not dad. Who cares? Who cares about this dead guy? That was so funny. It's like the sad moment. It's like, oh, that's not dad. Sorry for wasting your tears. That was the wrong guy.
That was someone else's dad. I don't care.
And wasn't there a section with that dragon too where she's like, oh, I'll let you have your one wish. You may smell my feet. And like that was one of the bad options. Like if you're like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like you can get I don't know if you get a game over from that like you do with the final boss, but it's just funny that the game's like lets you choose that. Kind of wonder now what happens if you say yes. Because when you say yes to the final boss, you get a bad game over.
Yeah, I did that one just to see what would happen. And I forgot who was my teammate at the time, and they're like, wait, you don't want to actually do that, do you? I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Oh, there was that other really cool part in the spooky zone where like you're fighting the ghost guy. And it's like, you win the battle, yay! And then it's like the little ghost guy's like on the ground or whatever, the shadow version, and like Mario takes the star and he like walks off the screen with your partner, and like suddenly you're controlling the shadow person because Mario is not you anymore.
Oh no.
That was so cool. Yeah. There's so many cool little creative moments in that game, so it's no surprise that it still holds up and that people love it. I basically took your segment to talk about the game.
No, it's fine because I just
you know what? I
don't want to talk anymore.
I'll just finish off with my last game, which is Minecraft.
Okay, we have played this a lot together.
We've played so much Minecraft this year, especially like the last few months. And between Cobblemon and I'm playing the medieval Minecraft thing, which is basically like Minecraft as an RPG.
Yeah, if you figure out that you actually want to stay with this one, I will download that one and play with you. Because I was going to do the last one, but then you had trouble with the server issue, so...
I mean, you can come play with me in this one, yeah. It's the same one that we played before that you got frustrated, but I turned on keep items on death. Because a lot of these, like this RPG one, for example, and some of the other ones, they up the combat difficulty, and not only that, but up, like, the complexity of, like, now you're gathering gems to sock it into your equipment, or some of these equipment have different stats, or just because there's so many mods, like there's a bunch of extra stuff you can collect. And I'm just tired of like running into a dungeon. It's like, oh, this is a modded monster, and it fucking killed you instantly.
Yeah.
So I just turned on keep items. I don't give a shit. It's more fun that way. You still lose time and item durability, but you don't have to worry about like, oh god, I gotta go get my stuff, or I'm gonna lose like my backpack and shit. Because I was playing, I forget what other pack it was, but I had my backpack, and somehow, I don't know what happened, but when I died, the backpack like despawned. So like I just lost a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, fuck this, I ain't doing this no more. So from now on, I'm just gonna play with keep items on when you die, because this isn't vanilla Minecraft anymore. It's not balanced around that kind of shit. So sure, if you want to join me, by all means. Like,
I guess I can give it a try. It's weird, like, I really enjoy having Cobblemon around.
Yeah, Cobblemon was so fun.
But like, I don't know.
It's also just an extra busy thing. Like, and sometimes I don't want to do Pokemon battles.
Yeah, I guess.
But like, it's Cobblemon is good, but I'm also spoiled by Power World, where like they react in real time a lot faster. And not only that, but like when you're at home, you could like make your Pokemon do stuff. Where in Cobblemon, it's still kind of like Pokemon. Sure, you can have all 6 of your Pokemon out, and like they can help you fight Minecraft mobs, but like it's still like not much to it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you can set up the ranch and stuff, but it's not quite. They still don't do anything. They just roam around and make eggs.
Yeah, and I mean, even to be fair, like all these no matter what mod pack you're playing, you're setting your own goals. Like I've been playing this now because like I'm determined to play with the magic that's in the mod. So I got.
See, that's where I fail, because yesterday I was like playing my version of Cobblemon with all the random shit I put on it. And I'm just walking around, and I'm like, and then I just stop. Well, like I'm just not good at making my own
making your own fun.
Yeah,
that's basically what this
I'm
Minecraft
not good
is
at
for
fun.
me. I'm making my own fun with like this RPG stuff. Like, oh, this is in the game, and I have my goal if I want to do this and this and see this, and like it's kind of the theory crafting too, like building things that work really good together. So I'm gonna respec my character because I spec'd into being a cook, and I thought that would be fun. But I have this skill where like when you're really full, like you get more health, but like when you lose your hunger, you lose that health. So every time I lose hunger, my character takes damage, and I don't like that. That feels dumb. It like makes this visual effect. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. I'm gonna respec and try, I don't know, something else. But like, I just have fun being in this world and like exploring and finding the new stuff to loot and building new things. And I've got this new farm set up. I don't know, Minecraft, man. It's one of those games where you can just come back and play in an all new way. And as much as I played the hell out of Cobblemon back when we were playing together, and even without you, I'm enjoying this version a bit more because it has that RPG kind of stuff in it that I really like. So, yeah, hey, join me for a bit. You don't have to stay forever. I'm just going to be playing, and if you ever want to jump in, that's fine.
Yeah, that's probably the only... I'll jump in and help you gather things, and that's all I'm good at.
You can just do whatever you want, and like, it's just...
No, I know, and that's the thing that I'm good at, is going down in the caves and getting resources, bringing them back, and that's it.
And I'll help, like, gear you up, since I'll probably spec into blacksmithing or enchanting or something. We'll see. I gotta figure that out, but I've been really enjoying Minecraft again, which is... That's probably another thing... well, you know what?
Minecraft is almost 15 years old.
Yeah. I was about to go on a whole other tirade, but we'll save that for the next episode. The next episode, we'll talk about what our gaming goals for 2025 will be, or what games we want to play.
Yeah, we can do my episode now. Or next.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough for this.
What do you want to... Okay, do you want to grade your things? Your games?
So my personal game of the year, huh?
I guess.
It has to be a toss-up between Unicorn Overlord and Enshrouded. They're both so good in different ways, but I think because Enshrouded has new stuff in it, and I want to play it again, I'm just gonna give it the edge and say that Enshrouded was my game of the year, and I'm going to play more of that next year. But I will go into that in the next episode, maybe.
I guess from what little I played and what little I explained to everyone, I guess I'll just go with Dicey Dungeons.
Dicey Dungeon, that's a great game.
It's a good game.
Yeah, well...
But then again, Death and Taxes was good too. I don't know, they're all good. I don't like rating things.
Yeah, me too. It's really hard to
Don't make me pick things. When people make it, what's your favorite color? I don't know. They're all fucking good.
Yeah,
What gender do you like? I don't know. They're all fucking good.
I agree. It's hard to pick. I don't like picking favorites either, but I mean, especially because my top two, they're so different. They're so different. So it's like, it depends on what you're in the mood for. But you really can't go wrong with either of those. And they're both great games. They both came out this year too, so wow. I actually played some 2024 games, so go figure. Anyway, that's it.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye. No, I'm going to say bye last.
I can't get this mouse.
Maybe we should do outtakes.